So we finally get to work on the work plan. We've got an hour to get through this, and in thinking about it, I think what we want to do is reserve about 10 minutes for voting. We'll use the dots like we've done before. And then we ought to have a good 10 minutes for wrapping up, sort of discussion, you know, how many items go on in the work plan, et cetera, a little bit of that. So that takes 20 minutes away from the back end of this thing. So we got 40 minutes or so to discuss this and go through. There's about 15 items on the list, which is less than 3 minutes per item. What do you guys think of that? Do you think we can plow our way through this in this amount of time that we have available?
We have to.
Oh, yeah, we have to, yeah.
What is the problem? What are we going to do?
We look at each one of these things if somebody wants to pitch their project and discuss it, but we basically get some background on each one of these so that we can go out and vote. Okay. If nobody wants to discuss them or doesn't want to discuss a specific thing that doesn't drop them off of the list, we'll just go vote anyway. So, let's start off at the top. There are 3 items basically that are required of us to do. First of all is the bylaws. We learned at the retreat that our bylaw work from 2 years ago never got completed, and so that's going to have to be picked up. I believe that that's going to need an official ad hoc to make this thing work. So that's something that's going to have to go on the list no matter what we do. The office process will need revisiting and everything. We did a real good job on it a couple of years ago, but kind of the results were ignored. So this again is something that we absolutely must do. And then the final thing is our new thing down here. Where is it here? Measure B, sales tax oversight, the independent committee. So those are 3 good-sized projects that are all going to require an ad hoc committee to operate them. So we've already got a lot on our plate. And I think those of us who participated in the ad hoc committees this year, 6 was too many. So we have to look real carefully at what we want to do. And one of the things to consider here is instead of having a full ad hoc committee that meets together, maybe one person can be the champion for that item, that work plan item, and just do the research on their own, meet with the city staff on their own, and come to the commission, schedule presentations, schedule report outs, whatever on an as-needed basis. So this is a way for us to pursue our passions without tying up a real lot of time and staff time on it too. So with that little setup, we'll start up at the top, which is code enforcement. These are basically alphabetic except for fireworks, which I somehow screwed up. Code enforcement, basically, I think all we can agree is it's a mess. And I think we need to sit down and figure out what are the problems, what can we ask for, what are the problems that they're fighting, etc. I would like to see that on the list, and I think that needs a full ad hoc committee. The last time we kind of did a gauge on this thing out here, there were 11 yeses, 0 no's, and 0 shoulder shrugs on it. What's a rough idea on this thing? We'll use the things unless somebody has specific comments. Okay?
To keep it?
So code enforcement on the list. Yes, somebody want to count these, please?
I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, guys, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
14, 15. So I guess that's on there. Okay.
Can I just back up 1 second?
Yes.
On the first 3 you talked about the bylaws, the compass, and the other one. Is that given that we are going to have accidents like the beauty right?
We have to.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a choice in this, that's the problem. Yeah.
But at what point do we decide that any of these that we've all said, yeah, it's not an ad hoc, it's one person?
We'll do those as we go through, which way we can do them. For example, this needs an ad hoc.
It does, but we passed up the bylaws, and that could be somebody just researching.
I think that needs an ad hoc. Yeah. So those 3 all need ad hocs. They're too important for us to just. It might be a small ad hoc, but it needs to be opened up for people. Okay, community choice aggregation. Nick, this is yours. This has already been passed by council, I know.
Yeah. So I guess the decision we should take is, do we want to influence what comes of the recent decision by the City Council to put in place community choice aggregation? I'm not sure everybody is completely in appreciation of the broad impact it can have, and we haven't discussed it fully here.
comments on that?
No, Commissioner Navarro.
Is there a possibility in the things that the council's already working on that, although all these are important to whomever is bringing it up, the sponsor, that we kind of put that at the bottom of the total, you know what I mean? So we can concentrate on the ones that maybe council is already working on. If they're already working on it, just defeats the purpose of us.
You'll be able to do that when you vote. Okay. But let's do a sensitivity question here. Last time we had 1 yes, 6 no's, and 5 mess. So yes on this one?
2 yeses?
One. These are 2 yeses, okay. And no's?
Hold them up high so I can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 no's.
Okay. And men? Barbara?
2 mess.
2 men.
Okay.
Or abstains, whichever way you want to do it. Okay, that's great. Development noticing we dropped off. Existing ad hocs we've split up into other things. David, cost for creating neighborhood associations.
I guess my best argument for keeping this on the list is I still get back to the point that that is the whole reason why we're here. It's getting the neighborhoods involved, getting that information to us to figure out what they need, and then the reverse is whatever the council's working on, does it make sense to the communities? The biggest argument is when you look at the budget presentation that the mayor gave to us in the library, one of the line items that made it important to the budget was community activism, I think was the words, and that's exactly what this is.
Do you think we're the best tool for that? I think we're an important tool in part of the information flow, but do you think that the leadership groups might be better at actually accomplishing this?
I actually see this ad hoc working with the leadership groups, and what it is, it's creating those leadership groups, making sure that those districts that have the leadership groups, do they have the neighborhoods accounted for? Are there dark areas, in other words? But Pete, that's exactly the point of this, is getting enough activism down at the ground level that the district leadership takes over.
Same thing?
Can I make a comment? Are we taking comments?
Yeah.
Commissioner?
Yeah, I just have a comment. I mean, I think it's important to say the next one about roadshow and leadership, couldn't that be parlayed together? I mean, kind of a unified message? I mean, I'm just proposing that. Double your pleasure. Just an idea.
In my mind, they're two different things. I think that we're, again, the crux of what we do. But one is actually getting neighborhoods created and get the leadership of those neighborhoods to a table, whether it's the leadership, probably the leadership district meetings. What he's been working on is once you've done that, what's the communication method?
So you want a very narrow focus and you want a full ad hoc to do this?
Yeah, talking about scattering. I mean, I think it could be one person per district, but I think one person trying to do that in all of the districts, it needs a full ad hoc. I personally think, whether it makes it to this list or not, I'm doing it in District 2.
And you'd be willing to lead that?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Estrada?
So I think the goal is very valuable, but I hear us talking about an ad hoc, and an ad hoc is a temporary group. And so then when I read develop a process, I think, okay, ad hoc could do that. And then when it says do the work, I think, well, no, that's not really an ad hoc. That's, it sounds like something more permanent. And so I wonder if that's like a permanent committee, or if it's not better served by city staff. And so I just throw that out there, that it doesn't seem like the right fit for an ad hoc if the scope is to conduct training sessions, etc. So I'm not sure that it would be an ad hoc.
The way I interpreted what you said, David, was that the ad hoc would basically create the systems and the processes for doing it, and then it would fall on each of us, whether we're on that ad hoc or not, to carry it out to our own things.
So the commission would not do the work,
Right.
but we could choose it as volunteers and all
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Okay.
No.
So we'd be the coordinators and the developers, and the actual work would have to be.
Thank you for the clarification.
And we're going to hold you to the end. We don't have time to do on each one. We'll get you at the end.
Just one only.
We'll get you at the end. Okay, any other comments on this?
Yes. I like this. It somehow seems a little circular to me, that we would be the neighborhoods commissioners fostering the creation of neighborhoods associations that elect us. Or like, it somehow seems out of scope. Bizarrely, I know, but does that make sense?
Kind of. What started this is I worked with our District 2 councilman to get a map, and he colored in those areas that are covered by neighborhood associations, and there were areas that weren't covered. And that's what drove me. I mean, everything should be covered. I think it's our job to work with whoever to make sure that the whole city is colored and they've got representative. But in some ways it is a little bit circular.
Just like John, yeah.
Okay, anything else? Let's go ahead and do a quick vote on this. All those in favor? Green?
1, 2, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Are you a yes? Mr. Spanish? 11.
Is that a net?
Is that a net?
Okay. So 10 yes, how many no's? 1, 2 no's, and Matt.
2 mess, okay.
3.
3 mess.
Okay, and that would be an ad hoc, and David is willing to lead it. Roadshow and Leadership Conference, Perry?
Well, we would continue to pick out the 2 major ad hocs and make it a slideshow to present it to the neighborhoods in different districts, and talk about how we can do some type of conference that we could just let everybody know what we're all about. I still go out there and people doesn't know who we are or what we're all about. And I think it's so essential to have something maybe a little bit elaborate, just so to say, hey, we're here. I mean, I talk to people all the time and they go, what's a neighborhood commission? The average person does not know what we do, and we have to go ahead and continue to make our charts, make a standardized presentation so we're all on the same page, and maybe look into a conference that we can get the word out about what we do and how they can come to us with any questions to get a better response of that connection to the community with, us as a commission members.
And how do you see that operating? An ad hoc, a champion, or some other mechanism?
Well, it would have to be an ad hoc because there's too many parts involved, but I would just say definitely an ad hoc.
Okay, and would you be willing to lead it?
Yes.
Okay, let's do any other questions, comments on that from anyone?
I don't know.
Yes.
I do like to get your idea, Commissioner Semantic, that these be put together. I think it does give more oomph to, well, if they're really left in right in, I think. So that's how I'd like to have it structured so that when I vote, I'm not voting it.
I wouldn't mind it actually happening with both. We can actually make up a slideshow and we can present it to the neighborhoods if that's the case. That's not my call.
So however it's going to be voted on, I'd like to understand, are we voting as an ad hoc or as a league or?
Right now, it's an independent ad hoc, independent from the Foster Creating Neighborhood Associations. When we get through the whole list, we'll look at marrying these.
Okay, so
I'll go ahead and say no, because we've got a lot of feedback, and it is a hard argument.
Let's do a quick vote on it. Any other comment? Yeses?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Clarification.
Yes.
We're voting to put these
No,
together.
we're voting to do the Roadshow and Leadership Conference, just that.
but how we get paying?
We'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. But right now, do we want to do?
Hang on, I gotta ask my question, for a second. Give me an opportunity, thanks. I gotta know what I'm voting on. Am I voting on something that is?
Mike,
Simply because
We
ad
can't
hoc,
hear
I don't
you.
wish to,
I can't hear you.
I I don't wish to vote on it as an ad hoc. I'd like to vote on it in such a way that I understand what I'm voting on. So what are we voting on?
Right now, we're voting on Roadshow and Leadership Conference as a standalone ad hoc without the other stuff in it. After we've gone through this list, we'll go back and marry whatever seems to make sense to get married. We'll vote on that separately. So right now, it's do we want to take on Roadshow and Leadership Conference? Later, we'll go back and visit whether we put the two together.
Okay, I'm confident that once we get to the end of it, because of the sentiments here, it's likely to be married. However, if it was more a close vote, that would force me into a no position on a very important issue. But I'll go with it. Thank you.
Okay, goods? Yeses?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes.
Noes?
1, 2, 3.
And, yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, good.
Also 2 votes.
Homelessness. You don't have to vote. Homelessness, Jonathan?
Yeah, so, it's pretty much exactly what we said leading into this for every other meeting. I still think it's the most important issue that we face. On the way over here, I counted it, 9 different homeless encampments, interactions with the homeless, going from the fairgrounds up to City Hall. I witnessed a fight on my way over here at the corner of Center and Tully. That's something that we need to help. It's still here, it plagues us. We need to help these people. So that's what we're doing. In the 2017-18 operating budget, it is said, AB 2176 implementation, tiny homes, the mayor's office put accelerate work with the council offices and the neighborhoods commission on site identification and community outreach meetings. There it is. It belongs here. Let's do it.
Any further discussion on that?
Commissioner Terry.
I like that, Commissioner Terry.
Sorry.
Works for me, absolutely. There may be an amendment that needs to happen to this, because what you just said is absolutely right. We're being asked to take this into our neighborhoods about the tiny home side of it, which is one small aspect. We're almost being assigned that as a commission. So in some ways, I think that aspect of the homelessness is appropriate, but I'm not 100% sure if the overall homelessness is. So it's almost, I would be asking for a friendly amendment.
Yeah, and I don't think that when we put this in here, and I appreciate your point, we didn't tackle all of homelessness, because we're not going to do that. That hasn't been done in, centuries, right? It's never been done. It's never been accomplished since history began. But I did put in there the 2 things. So one is AB 2176, and the other is to work on the dispersion policy, which is what the Director of Housing, Jackie Morales-Ferrand, asked us when we asked her, we said, what can we help you with next year? This is what she told us. She said, you can help us with this dispersion. And that's really it. It's those 2 issues, AB 2176 and dispersion policy. That's what we're working on. So if that works for your friendly amendment, I don't know if that will, but kind of.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so in order, Commissioner Semanik, Commissioner Lebowski, Navarro, and Estrada.
Yeah, I think one thing we can never lose sight of is what we talked about this evening about the voice of the community. I think most communities and neighborhoods in San Jose feel that homelessness is an ongoing issue. But even beyond the visibility of all the peripheral things that happen with homelessness, I think the other big issue that's going to resonate with the average neighborhoods going forward is the amount of money this city is spending for homelessness. It won't resonate quite yet, but it will in the next 3 years based on the projections we've seen. So I think the voice of the community must be very heard as a balance. Not that we're taking issue with the housing group or anything else, but again, the voice of the community needs to be heard by the council. No question. And again, I bring up that issue. The budgetary amount of money that's going into this as a city will overwhelm the average resident when they see that.
Commissioner Lebowski.
In the past, I've been kind of reticent to have homelessness be a part of the charter because it seemed like such a big issue. I think a lot of us were. I don't try to speak for anyone else, I'm speaking for myself. However, with your leadership, my colleagues' leadership on this, and focus it is very good work that he's done, the focus that he's put on this, I think that it will be 22 caliber focused, and I'll be voting affirmative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Navarro.
So, just to get some clarification, the only reason that you would want housing back on is to make sure that we, the neighborhood commissioners, work with our neighborhood groups to pick the locations of where the tiny homes will be. Not to impact anything else, because I feel that based on the report and all the departments that we pulled in to get the report, which was a great report, it just seems like they talked about way more than just this particular issue. So if it's just going to be focused on that, I like that. However, I still fall back to, I'd like to find out where the county stands. You know, as a taxpayer, I pay the county, and the county does need to be involved, and even though it might be your perception of the scope, I feel that it's definitely a social service issue, and I like the county to get some feedback and really get in there and move the needle where it needs to be, because I've always been an advocate for this to get resolved. They need the services that they need, and if we can help a little, I can understand that, but really we're not the ones that were assigned to, I would say, to move that needle. My thoughts, sorry.
Commissioner Estrada, and then Commissioner Semanik, then Commissioner Andreas.
Should I respond to that, or should we go to the next question?
I would,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just a
Discuss.
comment, I'm not asking, you know.
Well, to be real quick, so it's focusing on two issues. The AB 2176 for sites, and it's focusing on updating that dispersion policy, which is what the Director of Housing said, this is where you can help us. So it's those two issues, not just one.
I think that answers my question. I wondered why the description was different than what is desired outcome and results, and I think then we'll update this document to list what is now said. So I appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Semanik.
Yeah, Olivia, that's one of the reasons I think the council bounced back the whole reassessment by the county of Measure A. Not only the whole process, but the whole operational logistics around that. So that's my first comment. I think everything that you talked about, the dispersion policy of the city needs to be addressed, and I think the feedback we could give on behalf of the respective neighborhoods with this dispersion policy, which is also being under review by the council, I think is very important feedback that the neighborhoods can provide. So I think the charter of that feedback of the neighborhoods for the dispersion policy, the issues that are cited with both areas of legislation, is very important that we take that up. There's no question, because it's too visible in the neighborhoods of San Jose. Too visible.
Further discussion?
Question. So this has always seemed out of scope to me, and come to see it as being really valuable. And can you say again the specific focus of what you're proposing? Just to hear it one more time.
Yeah, so it's in two areas. One is AB 2176 implementation, working with each district to find a site to help that site get built before the end of this 2017 year. Number two is to work on the dispersion policy update, which is where the housing department told us this is where we can have the biggest impact and make the biggest help, or get the biggest help for them. Those two items.
So my concern with us taking the second part on is we could easily become the homeless commission. Like, there is probably a need in the city for its own commission just to deal with homelessness. So my concern with us taking on what is potentially out of scope, or was considered even by the city as out of scope, as much as I'm supportive of ending homelessness, to be clear, that our focus becomes on one uber important issue to the expense of all the other really important issues, like rolling fire trucks on time and getting illegal dumping off the street, all the amazing work that we've done. I'm concerned as this grows and as our impact and as our leadership as a body grows, that we become the homelessness commission. And again, I think that would be a loss to the city, and I think will be a loss to our other residents who aren't homeless. Please.
Yeah. Do you want to finish?
Go ahead. No, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. There are so many issues to deal with homelessness, and we're really tackling one and helping with implementation of how we have to go. So really we're looking at where people can be housed. It's a continuation of what we did this year. Our ad hoc was briefed and repeatedly briefed and researched and worked with the housing department to find about siting. What are these requirements? What can we do? Why are there so many places in the city that we can't place housing units? Why is that? We have so many people that need this help, yet we can't help them because according to our laws, our ordinances, we can't put up a building here. So, and the housing department said, this needs to be updated. You can help us with it. I'd feel really bad if we didn't help them. I mean, we're helping the housing department, help the homeless.
We wouldn't get probably a house
Hold
commission or a planning commission.
Wait,
Hold on. So, yes. So could we include, I don't know what the process is, could we include a third amendment or third action, which would be to explore the creation of a homelessness commission? Because I don't think it belongs in the neighborhoods commission. I am deeply passionate about people being home. I think it is a blight and a huge financial risk to our city that we have this issue. It is about to explode and become completely unmanageable for us. So we're taking it on as an ethical response and as a personal response. But when we look at the scope of the Neighborhoods Commission, which is already in question, we don't find out till after our summer break where it is, that we actually take a tone and take a posture that really this is so important that it needs another group of 20 people who are even more equipped and even more passionate than we are to address this. And so I would say, if we were to do anything, and I think it would help the city even more, to say to Jackie and the other team, great, we'll take on the tiny homes project, we'll drop the second one, because I think that will swamp us. I think that's too huge, honestly. I think that's like a whole Jerome's project, basically. And that we explore the creation and work with the city to create an additional commission. That may be very difficult, but I feel like that is the appropriate response in scope, and I think it's the appropriate service to the homeless people in this city, versus us creating some patchwork, effective as it is and as well led as it is by you. I think it's still a patchwork, and I think the issue deserves more.
So I think the fact is, we don't have that commission.
But I'm asking to create as an action to that commission, that body that we have the commission.
True. So maybe we do need one, but right now we don't. We don't have one.
Is this
And how long will it take for somebody to create a homeless commission?
I'm supportive of what you're saying. Everyone is. What I'm saying, I'm asking, is that the scope of what that project is for the next 6 months, assuming we continue forward. Again, our scope as a commission is unclear, and if our scope is unclear in the city, perhaps there's some malleability with what can be created with something even more important. Perhaps the Neighborhoods Commission isn't as important as ending homelessness. Perhaps us 20 people would just go work on homelessness. I don't know. I mean, the city seems pretty flexible in its view of commissions.
okay, we don't need to resolve this. I think those issues are well stated and on the table right now. Use that when you do your voting.
Commissioner Semanek.
Yeah, I think it's fine the way it is, and I think that's the other thing we need to talk about subsequent, is do we make this a standing committee? And I have to say, I'm repeating this again for the ad nauseum time, we need to represent the voice of our neighborhoods. It's clear that the housing department is responsible for the homeless in conjunction with the city council. I don't think there's any debate about that. But we would be remiss as a commission not to allow the communities and the neighborhoods to have input relative to the homeless problem. We would be totally remiss.
Commissioner Estrada.
I think homelessness is a topic that we should certainly embrace. I like that you narrowed the scope, and I support it. And whether there should be a homeless commission, I feel like we're just spreading the things we do too much. Like now we're going to start recommending commissions, and we might come up with 3 different commissions that we'll recommend. It's not really our role. I'm not saying that maybe somebody could have championed that as a separate effort, a separate ad hoc, but I think that's beyond our scope, personally. So I support the current proposal.
Jackie, had a comment?
I just wanted to add some clarifying information that we do have a Housing and Community Development Commission that does weigh in on issues regarding housing and homelessness for the council. So, this would be not creating another commission. There is another commission that handles issues regarding homelessness.
Mr. Sika.
Yeah, my view is that the task of ad hoc committee was fulfilled this year, and the council has taken the action. It's in the implementation stage, and neighborhood commission should not be there for helping the implementation stage.
Commissioner Cunningham.
I originally, when this first came up a couple of years ago, we had ad hoc investigators, and this is the second or third time. And a lot of people have put in the effort, and I kind of go along with you. This is the scope of extends into the county. It's not localized to San Jose. And Commissioner Fleming and other people in the ad hoc did a tremendous job this year. So where I'm coming from, the findings of what we've done, our efforts, one of the findings is that it might be better served having a commission dedicated to things. That's what I'm kind of reinforcing what you said.
Okay, any more?
Commissioner Navarro.
I just would hope that, like, you did such a good job. It's reaffirming the fact that it's within our scope. It's not within our scope, excuse me. And we do have a housing commission already. And maybe this is time that we pass law. And, you know, this is a way that we can work with all our already developed commissions and say, we've done this much work, now let's work with you so you can take it on. I'm in agreement with you. You said everything I wanted to say. It was perfect because I'm always going to be the advocate for the homeless community. I work with them a lot. But at the same time, it's like I know what we're trying to do here, and I want to move the needle. I don't think it's within our the scope to do it here, though. That's just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Commissioner Oleski.
Last comment briefly, I'm not sure what you call them, the temporary campus, or those are going to be either within or directly adjacent to neighborhoods, and they're very much going to be something we should comment on as a body. So I am going to vote in the affirmative.
Yeah, no question.
Do you see that as an ad hoc, a champion, or some other mechanism?
I definitely see it as an ad hoc, and I would like to add and remind everybody, AB 2176 is not a county issue. It was passed by the state legislature unanimously. Governor Brown signed it into law, and it affects only the city of San Jose. It's us. It's our 10 districts. It affects our quality of life and the homeless people's quality of life. It's important we remember that they're part of our residents too.
Yeah, there's no question.
Okay, let's do a quick. With the scope is now AB 2176 dispersion policy and explore creation of a homeless commission.
So wait, just to be clear, it's a sort of an up-down vote. So can you
So
and we know what I've proposed. So
on that list that's there, so after bullet 3 would be bullet 4. Continue efforts on AB 2176 implementation as asked by the housing department.
Okay, let's do
We're
it.
voting to expand the scope.
All we're doing.
No.
Yeah, we've clearly defined it.
sorry, so it doesn't include disbursement?
No, so there's 3 bullets on there.
I thought I heard Pete say.
She doesn't have my
First
version.
one says homeless.
The column on the right.
My document says something different.
All right,
much
so
more elaborate.
here's what it'll say. It'll say, participate in the update of the 2040 general plan and/or dispersion policy, which was given to us by Jackie Morales-Ferrand. Number 1, update the policy to more accurately describe both our desire to provide integration and opportunity throughout the city of San Jose. Number 2, suggest the removal of barriers that limit housing opportunities. Number 3, enable residents to participate in future siting opportunities via the Neighborhoods Commission. That's probably the most important part. Number 4, continue efforts on AB 2176 implementation as needed with the Housing Department.
So we're voting up, down on that whole scope?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can we vote? Yeses?
Yeses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 yeses.
Noes?
1, 2, 3.
No cares.
1, 2.
That's an abstain. You should.
Abstained. Okay, illegal dumping. That was 10, 3, and 2. I did better this Sunday. Illegal dumping, Jim, you put this on the list?
I did, and I'd like to take it off for a couple of reasons. One, the scope of this work plan is getting bigger and bigger, and it's, our capacity, we can only do so much. We explored legal dumping last time we did this work plan, and it turned out to be not so productive. So I'd just like to have it removed from the work plan entirely, unless somebody else wants to take it up.
Anybody got any input on that?
I just want to say that I think we've had positive results. Some policies have changed. The city has come out where they get the pickups from people, the large size pickups and all that. So I think there's been some positive outcome here. So they're going along with what you say, but I think there is a positive spin. There has been a positive.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Do I have a microphone? Oh, excuse me, I apologize. Excuse me. Should I read the hearing?
Yes, sorry.
So I have to agree with you. I feel we were successful in legal dumping. I know it's an ongoing problem. It's always going to be, but I think there's some good solutions on the table right now. So I would also say, let's close it out for now.
I like this. This happens to be a passion of mine, and I will maintain contact with environmental services if something comes up. We do have mechanisms to bring presentations and things to it, but I agree, we got too much on the plate. This is one that we can let drop for a bit. Harbinger, participatory budgeting.
Yeah, I would actually like to propose not as an ad hoc committee, but I can champion and work with the city.
Any other comments on that?
Yeah, could you characterize it for us?
Last year, when we were working with the city, we wanted to basically have the city outline part of the budget directly to the district for the resident to actually vote on the project as a participatory budget, but city denied it. So we wanted to pursue that. The goal was to basically at least give 500,000 per district minimum, or 1 million. That was the original goal for the city resident or the district resident to actually vote on the projects. While talking to the residents in the district, what I found that they are passionate about a lot of projects, but they never get done because city actually have priority all over the city. They don't consider that residents' wishes for particular districts are as important as the overall. But if we actually have outline some part of the budget directly to the resident, they can actually get to the projects which are really necessary within the district.
Thank you.
Commissioner Estrada.
I want to make sure I understand, and maybe I'm not up to speed, but I think this past year the city decided to let individual council members decide whether to devote funds to participatory budgeting or to use it for other purposes, and so I think that what this ad hoc committee or chairperson would do would be to pursue a different path, which is council members don't decide for their own district, but we somehow get the council to agree that they just allocate it.
No, what we want that there should be like we have the budget games, similar basically we should have at a district level budget game session, and where we actually let the resident identify projects they want to spend that money on. And council should not basically have a right to veto it. Presently, as part of the participatory budget, the residents only provide a wish list, which council member then take a vote on.
No, that's actually not the process. It's happening in my district right now, and so residents submit ideas. So participatory budgeting is happening. I think it's in at least 3
No, that is, that's only in 3 districts, and that's an experimental basis. What we want is across all districts and one particular budget.
Right. I'm just trying to clarify that our council member will not decide which projects the city, residents indicated. It will be the community will vote, just like what you're saying.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is going to happen in 3 districts this year. It's happening already.
Yeah, it's happening as an experimental basis in 3 districts. We want it across all.
Right. Okay, thank you.
More discussion on this one?
One quick comment. I think that it's not inconsistent with what's already happening to have some sort of overall view on it and an opinion coming from this body in order to make sure that what it ends up being something that is favorable. citizenry in the council districts. So I'm very supportive of your thoughts.
Okay, let's do a quick vote on this one, and people interested in letting Harbinger run with this as a separate little project. All in favor, green?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep, 13 is.
Anybody opposed to this? Nothing, and don't cares?
I abstain because I care.
Harbinger, I'm interested in this one.
Two abstentions.
Two abstentions? Okay, public safety, Olivia, this is yours. This says increased staffing.
Right, so I think one of the three things that we're here for is public safety, code enforcement, and transportation. Kind of self-explanatory there. We need to make sure that we focus on getting more dispatchers this year, and I think that the work that was done was excellent so far. I'd like to kind of focus more on re-examining the fire station that will provide more services for, I would say, 3 main districts. And possibly see where we're at with that. It's pretty simple, really. Not that simple, but simple. I want to make sure that we focus on that if we hopefully have time to get that, because it is a lot on our plate.
Okay, I did have a question about what the result of this effort would be.
So, there's been money already allocated for a fire station. I want to find out what the status is in getting another station up and ready. I believe the station that I've been talking to community members is on the corner, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ed Rass is here, on the corner of Lincoln and Kirtner, which would affect District 6, 7, and 9, an area where currently they don't have access to fire station quite quickly as all the other stations, and it would definitely offset the station that responds to what station is that? 22. Road. That currently takes as many calls as I believe the city of Mountain View as a whole. So we definitely need to make sure that we have the services available. I mean, it's bottom line, safety first. We need to make sure we have that available. And if we can provide a recommendation for council to re-examine that, and hopefully they can push to get that station, that the money's already there, built.
Okay.
If you have any thoughts.
Any discussion?
Jen.
Go ahead, Terry.
So although I think this is a good idea, I keep looking back at my big budget for next year and time and stuff like that. And then I went to a bunch of the mayor's budget meetings, you know, and a ton of the money is going towards police, fire, and so I'm not feeling that that's the part that I need to be focusing on next year. I heard more stuff about parks and roadways and some of those issues, so I'd be voting against this for that reason.
Ron, did you include Jim? Sorry.
Yeah, I think safety needs to be up front for us. It's one of our 4 things, our 4 responsibility areas, and whether or not we push for Fire Station 37 at Kirtner and Lincoln, or whether we come up with something else regarding the needs of public safety. That's for, I think, an ad hoc committee to determine. I definitely think that one needs to be established. There's areas in public safety that the citizens continually keep bringing up at meetings that I attend, whether that's crime prevention, reinstituting the crime prevention unit, reinstituting the traffic patrol unit, whatever. We continue to hear that, and so I think we need to have an ad hoc committee on public safety.
Commissioner Estrada.
Public safety is part of our scope, and so if some of us are willing to devote the time, I think we should support it.
discussion on that? Olivia, ad hoc committee, a champion, a team of one with some partners, or some other kind of structure? How do you want to see this implemented?
I definitely want an ad hoc committee. This is not something that is going to be done by one person. And I'd like to get the, different commissioners from different districts, because like I said, I just gave one example right now because that's my particular district, but I could speak in volumes in other areas in East San Jose or South San Jose where they're having problems, or in North San Jose. So this is something that affects every single one of us every single day. So hopefully I can get your guys' support, and hopefully not only that, you guys would like to join the ad hoc committee.
Okay, any other? Do a quick vote here. Yeses?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeses?
Noes?
1, 2. Miss? 2 abstentions.
Okay. Sales tax oversight, we've already talked about that. That's going to need a ad hoc committee. I don't know why I put it in this way. We'll fix that later. We have to do it. 1, review the sales tax revenues maximization.
So I noted before that the city has insufficient revenue to address pressing priorities, and what I put down here is, this is all I'm asking for. It's very simple and ideally efficient. The city manager's office provides the commission with a document that provides information regarding the existing proposed city efforts. The commission reviews the document prior to the next meeting, and the commission decides which strategy items it supports, and drafts a document in support of any that we choose to support. And that is all.
Questions for Juan? David?
I guess this seems logical to me that it would roll into the Measure B sales tax oversight. It's just a normal step of that.
Yeah, I would concur, although they are separate issues, so it shouldn't be lost that although the work and who the people are that you would talk to at the city and the staff might be the same folks, it's pretty different. So if there's a way to combine them, I'd like to see that, although I'd really be interested in hearing what one has to say about whether that's a good idea or not.
To me, this sounds like a pretty straightforward and simple little project.
Yeah, and my preliminary thoughts are, Measure B sales tax oversight is reviewing what we've done. This document is assessing or reviewing what the city is currently proposing, and then pretty straightforward. So we get a document, we decide what we agree on, and then we vote on it. I worry that it would just get lost or bogged down by this huge process that would go on.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Oh. Sorry. So I think, although, you know, we hear sales tax on both of these items, one before and this one, what I like about this one is a lot of the other things that we want to address, you know, such as the public safety that, you know, the Commissioner Navarro, I was talking about, or homelessness. I know for our particular district, one of the solutions would be for us to bring in more revenue or figure out where our revenues are from, because I want to know how much money is coming in to do the services for our neighborhoods, and what would the strategy be to support our council member or our council to get those monies in here. So, you know, if you're going to have all these great ideas and solutions, you know, we need to figure out if there's enough money. So whether we marry it to the other one, or it's just something that Juan is very straightforward with what he plans to do. I would think this would be a good tool to allow us to do the rest of the work that we want to do.
Point of clarification, is this being proposed as an ad hoc or for a leader?
You're just about to ask that question.
Okay.
How do you want to implement this one?
This would not be an ad hoc. So this is, the city is currently exploring ideas to generate city as a household, we don't have enough money, okay? And let us just be informed about it, whether it's a presentation or a document, and let us just decide which ones we support so we chime in. I'm not saying let's explore how to raise money, a lot of people do that. I'm just saying let's give our feedback on what the city is currently proposing, and that's it.
So you'd be a champion, basically
I
ad
am.
hoc of one?
I would be a champion with the support of our city manager's office.
Okay, yeah, but you would be willing to lead this?
I definitely would. I
Okay,
expect it would be minimal.
Question. So we've had a big question about city workload. How do you envision, like, how much of a workload do you envision? Do you, like,
I would expect that we would get a one-page document or existing documents that already outline the proposed strategies. So I'm not saying, city, please investigate. I'm saying, just tell us what you're proposing and then let us chime in.
Any more discussion on this? Okay, let's do a vote. In favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13.
Noes? No noes, any don't cares? Good enough, that's great.
Commissioner Levesky.
I think this process is going well, and I think the clarification point that you made, for instance, makes it a very easy, made that a very easy yes vote for me, because it just, the focus is very narrow, and it's going to get something meaningful to get done with it. So I appreciate these points of clarification as we're going through this.
Roundabouts, Rich?
I actually like to get my item removed. There's a couple other things I want to work on.
Vehicle abatement, that's Dee Berrigan's thing. Basically, this is somebody leaves their car on the road, and 3 days later, it's still sitting there, and a month later, it's still sitting there, and she wants to press to tighten up the tollway of those things. I was at a council meeting, however, when they were talking about problems with tow trucks who come in and told them it costs $1,000 to get your car back.
Yeah.
People were very, very upset about it, so there's kind of both sides on this, but use your own judgment. Let's just do a quick vote on this, whether you're interested in increasing the towing and just cleaning up the junk cars that are on the streets, basically, is it. So, yeses, whether we should take this on as a job, not that it's not a bad idea, but whether we want to take the work.
0 yeses.
0 yeses,
Are we
noes.
voting for an ad hoc or for someone to lead it, and if so, who would lead it?
Is it important?
Dee's not here, so I don't know if it would be an ad hoc or a champion or something. Somebody want to take this on?
That's all I'm asking.
Do you want to take this on?
No, I'm just asking if someone's going to take it. That would be nice.
So it has no owner, so let's say.
Yeah, we lost its owner, so. Nobody for, anybody against? None against. We got plenty of things to do. How many is that?
Oh, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And don't cares?
5 abstentions. 1 formal abstention. The rest are too lazy to raise their hands. Sorry, 3 formal abstentions. 2 too lazy to raise their hands.
Illegal fireworks, maybe this was yours, basically was to repeat what happened last year.
I'm also going to ask for that item to be removed. I think we have more pressing items that I wanted to do that.
Commissioner Lebowski clearly has a viewpoint on this.
I'm surprised, but I think that we will have quite a reaction from our community if we don't keep illegal fireworks as a work item. Now, how we do it, there's a lot of work that's been done in the last couple of years, but there's also still a strong reaction from the community that more needs to be done. And maybe it's a monitoring thing, but if we take it off and we're not monitoring it, we're going to be viewed as like part of the problem rather than part of the solution. So I'm going to vote in favor of it, and I'll put myself in a position of being like a lead or something like that. I don't know if it has to be an ad hoc actually now, but something like that.
Commissioner Carter.
Yeah, I agree with
what Nick said. I think it needs to remain on it, whether it's, I don't believe it needs to be actually an ad hoc, but I think several of us could work on that to maybe just keep it on the board, keep it in our sights, and keep it as a priority to deliver back to the neighborhoods, and what the progress is on the, reporting out progress that happens after this year, because last year was a pilot program, this year it's going full force, so what's going to be the result? And I think it's important for us maybe to deliver that message back to the neighborhoods.
Can I extend my comment? Oh, thank you. And I think there has been a lot of good work done here, and it hasn't just been a catcher's mitt. We haven't just received presentations and just kind of rolled our eyes and went on with it. I think there's been some work, and a lot of communication has flowed back to the community, so I would support your comments.
Commissioner Semanek,
Yeah, I think the ongoing monitoring of the enforcement is a big issue for most neighborhoods. I mean, this year we know that there wasn't much. The improvement of that, I think, is very important. The other thing I think is very important is the scope well beyond the 4th of July, Chinese New Year's, other holidays. So I hear that over and over, at least in my district. So I think that monitoring and reporting is very important.
Yeah, this is another issue like with the company, where there's some results of what we've done. I think we contributed a lot to this, and there's a lot of awareness now. I see signs all over the place about illegal fireworks, and what I'd like to see, if we continue with this, is some metrics. See what is being done, how many citations were issued, any arrest or whatever. So we got something that's kind of tangible. This is what happened last year. This is what happened this year. We see some kind of progress. So that's kind of what I'd like to see.
Okay, Nick, I'm going to let you make the call on this since you offered to take it over. Adhoc, champion, or some other mechanism?
Thank you for be championing at this time, and then if it evolves, it won't really de-evolve from that.
I think that's a good way to do it. And I agree that we need to be on top of this. We get good press out of this thing. Okay, yes, no, maybe. Yeses?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. One abstention.
Is that a no or is that a
Sorry, abstention? Okay. Do you mind? We don't need, sorry.
So no no's and one abstention?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, Jack, if you'd write the numbers up there.
You said the right or left?
So stick them on the right, just so we got them on there, and skip the first two. So code enforcement, 15 and to 0. I'm going to leave them as off. The CCA gets 2 and 10. Foster gets 10 and 2. Roadshow gets 7 and 3. Homeless 10-3. Illegal jumping, is that where we are? Yes, it is. Oh, it's taken off, that's right. So take a tape and just take it out there, that's right. We're organized. 13 to nothing on the participatory budgeting. Increased city staffing, 11 and 2. Sales tax revenues, 13 and 0.
Public
So
safety.
Public safety was 11 and 2, right. That one doesn't get a vote, we gotta do it. So review sales tax strategy is 13 to 0. Roundabouts is off, vehicle abatement is off. And the illegal fireworks is, what would we get, 14 and 0. Ed Rast, do you have something to say here? That's Olivia's thing about fire station. We'll just leave that name on there, yeah. We'll edit these out later when we actually set up the ad hocs. Go ahead, Ed.
United Neighbors has been around since 1995, and basically talking about helping the neighbors form. That's one of our missions. And that basically, when you look at you've got 16 items there. It's way, just like when you started the year, a number of us came down here with a lot of experience with neighborhoods and commissions. And so basically, you've got too many things on your plate. You need to take a look and eliminate a number of them, or else have them, as Pete suggested, which I think is a great idea, have one person monitor But as far as helping the neighborhoods form, that's the mission behind neighborhoods. That's what we do. We've been doing it since 1995. It's something that if you have a neighborhood or an area of your council district that you want to help and do it, we can help you. And that's basically what I want to say. The other point thing is, it's appropriate if you're going to have, the way you're running this, to have the public testimony before you start voting, not after you vote. Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna vote in a while.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Oh, can I take this time then to combine those two?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, I was gonna do that next.
Okay, and then the other.
Any other general comments first, but yeah, that.
Well, then I don't know if my other one's a general
Okay.
comment. I don't think we should vote on the ones that are required because it is what it is, and those that were led by one person.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Want to expand on that?
Yeah, the ones that are champion.
So I'll put a little,
That seems like a smart idea, that not voting on the ones that are one person, because there's going to be one person that's going to do most of the work, they're going to report to us, or the rest of us are catchers, and that's their pitchers. So I think those should probably pass by, maybe we can just, we have to weigh in on it, right? But
Yeah,
I
we're
don't
gonna
know
weigh in and
on
we'll
it.
vote, you know, and then.
However you feel.
Yeah, we can do that, and then we can, you know, if it's a committee of one, we can do it, we just add one thing. What we want to control is exactly what Ed said, we took way too much last year. John?
So do I need to make a motion to merge Foster and Roadshow together?
I don't know if we need a motion, but we'll just do it, is that the consent, what do people think? Yeah, go ahead and make a motion.
I'll second motion.
Second is Lebowski.
So we're to do what now? To merge?
To merge.
Foster and Roadshow.
Foster.
For the record, the two people who offered to lead both of those agree that it should be combined now.
fine.
You know, for the record, they're both from D2, so there's collusion. The motion was semantic, and.
Second.
The second
No,
was
Nick
who?
second.
Okay, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Great. So those will be one. Okay, now we'll do the actual voting. The ones with the tapes over them basically don't need votes. Is that the way I understand it?
Yep.
Right? Do you have the champion ones on there, or should we just vote on them anyway and see where it ends up?
Champion ones, I just put a little piece of tape, little small piece of tape.
Okay.
to show
Okay,
you.
you've got 4 votes. Your number 1 item is the red one. Your number 2 is blue, is green. You can see the numbers up on there. I'm a numbers guy. I find this to be quite fascinating. You see
So one
where
is
the time-
red, what's the yellow?
Yeah, your most important vote is red.
Point of clarification, so
They're up there on the board
only
here.
one to per, or can you front load it, or
You can put all of them on one.
you can put all on one if you want?
Vote any way you want.
Okay.
It's your votes.
Oh, yeah.
When we're done with this, we'll see where the cutoff line is, and then we're going to have to pick how many ad hocs we want to do.
We should do that to the
Want me to do it for you?
first meeting of next year. What we're doing is setting it up for.
There's only 5 choices.
Yeah, that helps a lot, and also the
Where are the dots to get you back there?
Waiting on the line. We have to do code, we have to do, yes, we have to do measure B. I did not, but it got you proud of it. When you go to the rules. Sure, no, it's good. Thank you.
So we could end up with as many as 8 ad hocs. 6 was too many for this year. So what we're going to have to look at, and we can do that tonight, or we can defer that until the August meeting to see which of these things actually stays on the plan. We'll have a sort, we'll figure out how many votes, and there might be a couple that fall down at the bottom, and we just decide tonight to get rid of them. But I would like to limit it to the 3 that we must do, plus only 2 more. And I think there ought to be a decision by if somebody wants to save one of these things, that they pull it in as a champion type of thing.
I really regret not bringing that council meeting thing, because it was both, AB and, it was both.
And I was trying to remember what it was, but really late. So that was a problem.
But I know for sure they're taking it back to the county for operational process refinement, explanation. I know that for a fact.
See, it should be.
That's right. That's right.
Stage choice.
Yeah.
Nowhere in that bill as it said.
I thought it was hokey as hell. Yeah, hokey as hell. Just tell them how council just voted to send back to the county about Measure A, the operational
I only voted 3, you don't have to vote 4.
behind it. So that's why it was delayed till August. And the other AB bill was question 2, that was delayed too. The rollout. And the dispersion policy. Did you read that? You gotta read it.
See, that's interesting. Maybe that's why they were saying.
Well, the dispersion policy was kind of what she told us. She wants to go to the public for input.
Yeah,
So I think we're on solid ground.
This is all recording, isn't it?
Everybody in on this, by the way? Everybody voted everything?
Do the red dots count for more than the others?
No, they're just for research later.
For that poster.
Okay,
Thank you, Olivia.
couple of things to take a look at here. So we've got the 3 ad hocs that we must form. The community choice segregation, CCA only has 3 votes. I would suggest that we just drop that. And then we really get down to, we want to add 4 more ad hocs, or should we take the bottom 2 and just drop them off of the list so that we keep our workload down? And I know that's just, I'm sorry? No, I'm just throwing out some ideas, and I want to hear from people on the thing. What do you want to do about CCA? Should we dump it?
Can we get some tallies first?
Oh, I'm sorry, you can't read them?
So,
The first one was the Foster Creating Neighborhood Associations and Roadshow, got 18 votes.
No, she's going in order of those 2.
oh, top one, okay.
Okay. Code Enforcement got 15 votes. How did we get 18 votes, by the way? Oh, some people voted more than once. 18 votes for neighborhood associations, 15 for code enforcement, 13 for the homelessness, 10 for the public safety, the fire station, and 3 for CCA.
And just to be clear, I thought that you guys were going to count it differently because you said red's most important.
Yeah, to you, yeah. It's useful information, yeah. Okay, so that's the question. Do we want to drop the bottom 1, 2, or 3 off of the list to keep our workload down for next year? Or do you want to defer this decision until we come back in August? Defer, go ahead.
Latter, defer.
Is there ready for that, Jim?
Yeah, I'd like to defer because I'd like to get some feedback from our associations and our neighbors.
Okay.
Maybe they have some input that, we're not considering. I'd just like to hear from them, take this back to them, and, given the limited amount of time that we have, and hear what they have to say.
And I would second that, given that our scope may change depending on the council's letter.
Okay, then we're done. What's our action that we have to do here? No, Sabrina? Should we vote on?
Can we vote on that?
What do we actually do here? We don't actually.
Vote on deferring it.
Huh?
Vote on deferral.
Vote on deferral.
Vote on deferral? Okay. Can I have a motion for that from somebody?
Think
I'll
Carter.
motion for that motion.
Motion Carter.
Second motion for punt.
Okay, all in favor of that? Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? That's unanimous also, great. Okay, you guys. Motion to adjourn for the last time.
Motion to adjourn. Happy summer, guys.
Before we adjourn, round of applause for,
It's been a lot of work, and I really, really appreciate what you guys have done. It's been phenomenal. I think the tone of the meetings, you know, I'm gonna pick a couple of them. We had a homeless discussion one night, and a public safety discussion one night that was fascinating. And in a letter that I sent to the council members that say we're up to good things, I'm gonna send them a link to those videos so they can actually sit and watch them. Because anybody who sat through a couple of these meetings thinks that we're gonna die. So there's a motion to adjourn from Olivia, who was the second? Second was
okay.
Hernandez, okay. And all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. And John, before you shut down the camera, would you take a picture of the results?
Well, yeah, I thought if I would have known that, I would have put all my 4 stickers on the. But they didn't. That was the
Make sure you can read it.
Get out of frame.
Yeah.